It's official. Vaccines against COVID-19 are ready to be deployed.
The UK has approved the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID vaccine,
which paves the way for mass vaccination.
Is 95% effective.
UK's vaccination program is getting underway. But how do things look on a global scale? Manufacturer AstraZeneca had promised vaccines for up to 2 billion people by the end of next year, but now questions are swirling about its testing methods. Pfizer, BioNTech and Moderna say they can supply enough immunizations for 1 billion people by 2021. That may sound like a lot, but actually, it isn't. The supply of vaccines is likely to be very limited, at least until the end of next year. That's partially because wealthy countries have been stockpiling pre-orders of the vaccines. For example, the United States, Europe, the UK, Canada and Japan have rushed first to secure around 80% of next year's vaccines from frontrunners Pfizer, BioNTech and Moderna. Health experts even coined a term for this kind of stockpiling.
Vaccine nationalism will prolong the pandemic, not shorten it.
It's feared vaccine nationalism among rich countries could choke off supplies elsewhere, especially in these low-income regions around the world. This outcome is what health experts have been warning about. They say solving the pandemic requires distributing vaccines more equally around the globe.
Now, the people who really need to be vaccinated are your healthcare workers. And you need them to be vaccinated all around the world, because they are the ones who come into contact with the virus, and they are the ones who may amplify it if they're not protected.
Researchers have modeled what effect a more equal distribution could have on COVID-19 deaths. If all countries shared vaccines and prioritized at-risk groups, more than 60% of deaths from the virus could be prevented. But if the world's wealthy nations monopolize vaccine access, that rate drops to just about 30%. Monopolizing access isn't just about how many doses countries have reserved. Another big question is the order in which vaccine makers will hand out the doses.
I think what we do know is that it's very likely that the first who made the first commitments will also get the first parts of the vaccines.
3 global health organizations are trying to make sure low-income countries don't get stuck at the back of the line. They're backing a program called COVAX to provide equal access to vaccines around the globe.
It's a tremendous development that we've been able to establish COVAX in the middle of this crisis.
The goal? Securing and distributing 2 billion doses to all member countries until the end of 2021. Nearly all countries around the world have joined the initiative, including wealthy EU nations like Germany. COVAX has also been placing pre-orders with many of the dozens of companies racing to produce vaccines. One of them, AstraZeneca, had pledged at least 300 million doses to developing nations through COVAX. But now experts are raising questions about the vaccine's effectiveness after the company admitted mistakes during testing. This is a setback for COVAX, which may not be the silver bullet some are hoping for. It's unclear whether the project can secure enough doses to adequately supply lower-income countries next year. Much will depend on how many vaccine candidates prove successful, and when. And if COVAX has dealt with the right companies. Even if COVAX secures enough doses, distributing them is still likely to pose big challenges. Some vaccines, like the one from Pfizer, required storage under extremely cold temperatures, making them difficult to transport to more remote areas in the world. A DHL study predicts that around 15,000 planes are going to be needed to distribute vaccines in the upcoming years.
This is going to be a historic effort and heavy lift to actually make all this happen. It's being thought through and planned and discussed as we speak. But clearly it's going to be a massive challenge.
Experts warn that letting the pandemic rage on in some parts of the world poses a risk to everyone. That's because, so far, it's unclear how long the immunity from vaccines will last. World leaders have stressed time and again that they want to achieve global access to vaccines through initiatives like COVAX, including at a recent G20 summit hosted by Saudi Arabia.
Dass wir nicht nur in Europa uns Impfstoffe sichern, so wie es die Europäische Kommission tut, sondern dass dies auch insgesamt für die Länder der Welt wichtig ist und richtig.
In the months ahead, the decisive question will be whether global leaders' actions really follow their words.